Welcome back to the DNA Pest Control Podcast. I am super excited to get back at it. I know if you haven't listened, go back and listen to the Friday episode I dropped. It's about Pest World and the 2022 Pest World in Boston. It was a ton of fun. I posted some pictures of a few, sightseeing, things like that, and what we were able to do while we were there, and a few sponsors, did some cool stuff like at Fenway Park. So if you're a big baseball fan, you can go see those pictures, and actually getting to see the World Series trophies up close. And yes, those are legit. Those are real. Okay, so it's pretty crazy to see that and see that in person. Now, I'm not a huge baseball fan, so it didn't matter too much to me. But those of you who are, it was really cool, So it was really awesome just to go and experience that. But today is not about Pest World, and it is not going to be about what I learned in Pest World. Today is going to be about accepting truth. Okay. I have not been doing a podcast. I haven't been consistent or as consistent as I would like to be. And hopefully I can make room for that the rest of this year and the years to come. The thing is people who are out there starting their own business or want to start their own business and have listened to the podcast, have heard many, many times over and over, I advise people not to do it if you are not willing to put in the time, the effort, and especially the studying that goes behind being an owner. Just because you can take a test and the state says that you can start a business does not mean you can start a business. And that's the harsh reality and truth behind it. But even if you have, or you did start, or you decide to jump on that, congratulations, I'm excited for you. But be prepared to be very stressed at times, to overwork yourself majority of the time to get to that next level. One thing, actually going back to Pest World, one thing that is really cool about Pest World is I got to meet a lot of people, not only in my area, but also owners of massive companies who have been through really everything that I have. And there was actually a group of guys that are from Sacramento. I talked to them. They just sold. They're leaving California to go to Texas. But it was really cool to talk to them and really hear what they're going through, and what they were saying is a company, you don't really get stable until you have about 5 technicians and running routes. And I don't know if that's quite true or not. I think it kind of depends on the owner and what you're willing to do and how you're willing to do it. But definitely it does get easier as you start to grow. But then you have different challenges as well as you're growing, right? So the harsh truth is you're gonna hit these roadblocks, and going from owner operator, and you're the person answering the phones and the staff and collections department and the sales department and literally every department. As you start to grow, you're gonna have to start hiring people, and when you hire people, you're gonna really you're going to see how much that hurts the bank account, and especially people that are not executing at a high enough level for you. And so talking about this is another harsh truth, right? So this year has been a roller coaster ride. To be honest with you, it's been crazy. We have nonstop growth since December, which is absolutely amazing. Literally, 1 month to the next, we have grown and grown and grown and constantly have beat out the last month and the last month and the last month. So every month has been our biggest month. month after month, which is typically unheard of, unless you are putting in that effort. And so with that, we have gained people, we have lost people. And this is one of the truths that I wanted to talk about today is losing people. And a lot of owners, business owners will take losing people as a personal attack or, something more personal. And one thing that I have learned through this experience, hiring, firing, people quitting, things like that, is one thing that you have to remember and realize is one person is never going to make or break you, and it never should. You should build your business around having enough people, or at least not putting so much emphasis on that one person, right? And luckily I did that, okay? So we had a girl in the office. She was great. I'm not going to mention any names or anything like that. I won't get into too much detail. But there's people who will bring you to that next level, and you need to use them to get to that level. Unfortunately, and this is for the route technicians out there who listen to the podcast, is you can either grow with the company and be that person who executes on a higher level, and as the company's growing, you start to execute on a higher level. Or you could be that person who stays at that basic level and doesn't grow with the company, which, unfortunately happens time and time again. And so I saw that with this girl. She was amazing. She was great. As we grow, she would be perfect as an employee in the office, underneath management. She had expectations. She wanted to become a manager. Unfortunately, the actions behind the words weren't there. But once she left, and we're still on good terms, we ticked up. We grew more by losing somebody. And this comes back. I'm going to keep saying this over and over again this episode, but that harsh truth that hurts sometimes is she was so valuable in the beginning, but by the end, as we started to grow, we outgrew her, and she didn't grow with us. And unfortunately, that is going to be one of the difficult tasks as an owner, is you're going to have to be able to realize that and get those people out fast enough to be able to bring on better talent to get you to that next level. The next thing is we had one of our technicians, one of the managers, he was on, and it was absolutely amazing when he left. And everyone's probably like, "Oh, you are such a jerk." Wow, you can't. But to be honest with you, the level of stress that was created by this one person took so much out of everybody around him that it brought us down. And once he left, it was amazing. We grew, and the techs grew, and the techs became more responsible, and everything got smoother, everything got better, and people were able to focus on what they needed to do without a distraction. And so coming back to the truths is, are you that tech? Are you that owner? Are you that employee that is bringing the company down, or are you lifting the company up? If you are at a company and you want to grow, we had another tech leave, and once again, another amazing thing happened. We got better. It's crazy to hear that, but are you the tech that is being negative and complaining? Oh, I got to go back to this callback. I got to do this. Or are you creating so many ideas and distractions? We got to change this. We got to do it this way. We got to do it that way. And you're disrupting that consistency, and you're disrupting the growth of the company. Are you that person? Or are you that person that's firing on another level, who's staying consistent in his lane, who is growing, who is learning, who is making it an easier place to work, an easier place to be because of that. And that is a great question that I always ask myself. Am I being the best person I can be? Am I treating my people better than what anybody else can treat them and how they can treat them? Or do we have a different environment? I don't care if the other company is going to pay you more, because you're going to end up quitting there and coming back because the environment sucks. And as we grow, the pay comes with that growth, right? Can you go work for another company and make $1 more? Probably. Honestly, you probably could. But are they going to treat you better than I'm going to treat you? And are you making their life easier, or are you making their life harder? And fortunately, the people who have left have made it, and you don't see it until they leave, is we actually got better, and we became better, and we grew from it, because you take you take that toxic people out of the environment and you grow. With that being said, I did not want to make this a negative talk. I wanted to make this a very positive talk. And I want you to understand and reflect on, is that you? How are you handling every situation? Are you the complainer on the team? Are you the guy who's not willing to step up and actually do the extra work and make it easier on everybody else? We've talked about it on many episodes, is being that person who is going above and beyond, who is creating something more, who is doing that extra work. So really think about that, especially coming into this week, and coming to the close of a year, is what are you doing to make this, the situation, the environment better? And it's amazing to see some of the people I brought on. I have a sales guy who jumped on. He took over. I was gone. I was gone for a week in Boston, and he actually said, "Hey, I want to do the meeting." And it's amazing to see the people and where they're going to stand up and step up and take charge. And he created a whole meeting, and ran it for me. And he was that pillar. Texts were going to the sales guy. The sales guy's only been on, for maybe 6 months. And we have guys that have been here for over a year, and they're running to him, asking him questions, so he decided to step up and be that pillar. And it's amazing to see people do that. And it's amazing to have those people around you, to bring everything up. So be that person, okay? Be that person who's stepping up. Be that pillar in your company. Be that guy, and some of the owners that, if you're listening, if you're growing, you're deciding to hire new people, are you going to treat them well enough? Are you going to keep them around? And if it's not a good fit, get rid of them. There is a truth behind hire slow, fire fast. There's a huge truth about it. And sometimes you don't get to see it until afterwards. 4 years later, we lose the guy, and it's like, oh my gosh, I can sleep at night. There's zero stress. We can actually focus on what we need to focus on. There's no distractions. And you don't get to have those experiences until after sometimes. So learn from my mistake, learn from the mistakes of others, and fire fast, hire slow. And also take into account, go back to that truth. Are you being truthful to yourself? Are you being, good in every level? Are you being the best in every level? Are you stepping up, even doing more on every level? That's where you're going to see the most success, so be truthful to yourself. Really understand that. The next thing about that truthful, and sometimes the truth hurts, is even when you're out running that route, are you stepping up to that level? Are you doing the extra thing? Your backpack runs out halfway in the backyard. Do you just run to your truck, throw it in your truck, say, "Yep, I did it, see ya," and act like you sprayed the backyard because no one's home? Or are you actually going, you're filling up your backpack sprayer, you take another extra 5-10 minutes on that property because you had to do that, and you get it done? What are you doing out there? Are you being trustworthy? Are you being truthful? You got to be that. You have to have that next level. You have to think in that way. And of course, there's always those guys who are just going to do that. They're going to wing it. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to study. They're not going to learn. And to be honest with you, every company needs that. Every company needs those guys. I shouldn't say need those guys. Every company has those guys by default. But it's really hard to have everybody firing on an excellent level. And not everybody will. And so you do have those levels of technicians, and the lower level technicians are going to get paid the least, and the higher level techs are going to get paid the most. And you see that in every company. You have those guys that are going above, beyond, just killing it. And those are the guys that are making the most money. And those are the guys that are going to stick around for years to come. But definitely be that guy, be that guy that steps up, be that girl that steps up, be that person that will go over the top. And so with a little bit that's been happening, that was just a few things, right? So going back, is essentially from the beginning of this year, we just started taking off. We got super busy. We kept winning bids. Those of you who are not doing any bids or bidding or anything, I definitely suggest it. It is a really awesome way to grow very quickly. And each state's a little bit different, but definitely go on and look for those. Look for those bids. Try to get, gain traction in those. If you're just a residential kind of thing, hey, that's cool too. Nothing against you, but you definitely are going to have to step out of that realm eventually. And that's what we did. We started focusing on this stuff. And so just from, 4 years ago to today, I've literally, we quadrupled in growth. We just moved, which is another awesome thing. We went from a little sliver on the side of a building, pretty much. It was about 1,000 square feet. We could fit one truck after we got everything organized in the shop. We could fit about one truck in the shop area. You couldn't even open up the doors all the way, and you had to fold the mirrors to drive back there, to now over a 3,000 square foot office that has actually offices. We have actually rooms, multiple bathrooms finally, so we're not all sharing and crammed into one. We actually, in these past 4 years, we went from a cubicle to finally our own office, and now to literally in a quarter of, the building that we're in now. So to see that, it's been awesome. But you definitely need the people around you. And so having all that going on, it's been an amazing experience. It's been awesome, but it's brought me back to that being true to yourself. And I've seen so many, especially with guys here, and I'm going to get him on the podcast, is Aaron. We have had plenty of conversations, so I can say this about him. And he came in, and he had to be truthful to himself. He came in as the office, to run the office and be the office manager. And where his expertise actually lies and where he thrives is in sales. And so he had to be truthful to himself and accept that, hey, I need a change. I need to move from office manager to sales manager. That's what I need to do. And it worked out perfect. He's now the sales manager. He's still doing a lot of office stuff, but once we get some, a few things cleared up, he's going to be out there killing it, and executing on a high level. And that's just being truthful to yourself. And so as you're in that company, as you're growing, and this is something I've had to do, is I've tried to pull myself out of a vehicle so often that sometimes you get lost, in that one goal, in that thing, in that idea. And that's just not being honest. I'm best in a vehicle, talking to people, selling, being out in the field. I'm not best in an office setting. I'm not best at answering phones. You have to be truthful to yourself. And so if you are a technician out there, you are a manager, you are an owner. Just because you're an owner does not mean you have to be in the office. Okay? Just because you're a technician in a truck doesn't mean you have to be a technician in a vehicle. Maybe your communication skills are through the roof and you'd be better as a trainer. Or you'd be better as an assistant manager, helping out, with some of the office things and techs. So definitely be truthful to yourself, really know yourself and where you're going to exceed, and then move yourself into those positions and see if there even is a position open or opening where you are to get into that where you can be truthful to yourself and you'll exceed way more than what you're doing right now. And you'll actually be successful and you're going to be happy, but that only comes when we are truthful, and honest to who we are and what we need. So I know that this was kind of a quick episode, but I definitely wanted to get one out for Tuesday. I wanted to set you guys on that right path for this week, to really focus in on what's been going on and what's been going on with me. I wanted to get everyone caught up is with everything that's going on, hiring, having people leave, stuff like that. With the growth, it's been awesome. It's been crazy. It's been a lot of fun, to be honest with you. I mean, that's what I thrive off of. My passion is business. It's actually not teching per se. It's just business in general. And so I thrive off of that stuff when we start to grow, when there's that movement, when we're really doing stuff, we're beating our goals that we had planned. It's just amazing to watch that. We had a few small goals on two, with the two different companies, to do over 50,000 in a month, and the other company to do over 40,000 in a month. And we blew that out of the water. We're doing way more than that. And so it's really cool to see that, as we're starting to push forward and grow and grow and grow and grow. And now we're making it happen. But that comes with having the right people who know where they're going to succeed and where they're going to do best. And if you're over those people, you need to be able to discern who is in that position and who's good in that position. But take this week, take this podcast. I hope as you've been listening, really sit back in your seat as you're driving or as you're spraying a house. Think about it. Think about where you need to be, what you need to be, and do it. Whether it's in the industry or out of the industry, really focus on you and how you're going to succeed and be truthful to you. Is it comfortable where you're at? Great. But in life, we're not looking to be comfortable, right? We're looking to grow. We're looking for more, just human nature. That's what we do. That's why people go out and buy a bunch of stupid stuff all the time, because they think that environment change, those new things are growth, but it's not. They're just confusing themselves. But that's why people do those things. That's why people are driven in different ways, is we're looking to grow. We're looking to be something different. So we go buy stuff. Or we're constantly changing our environment. But if your environment isn't here, great, go somewhere else. If you think becoming an owner is going to give you that fulfillment, great, do that. But be prepared for everything that comes with it. Because all the stuff that you hate, you're going to have to do. And all the stuff that you love, you may not be able to do in some of those cases. And so understand that, be open to that, have that idea and know that, but be truthful to you. Take this week and reflect. Write down the things that really matter to you most and what you enjoy, and see if there's a position that you can create that really entails all those things. Is it being that rodent specialist? Is it being the bed bug specialist? Is it training all the new guys that come in? Is it recruiting new guys that come in? Is it being in the sales? You love to sell. Is it, running a team and you love that team environment? What is it? And one last thing about being truthful is another great experience that I had with one of the guys leaving is don't be afraid, and this is going back to being true to yourself, don't be afraid to sit down with, wherever you are in your situation. If you're just a route tech, sit down with the manager. If you're the manager, you need to sit down with the regional. If you're the regional, you need to sit down with the COO or the owner, whatever it may be. Don't be afraid to sit down and say, look, these are my goals. This is what I want in life. This is what I'm striving for. How is it being here? How am I going to do that here? And put them on the spot. You're helping that establishment out. You're helping that establishment grow. Be honest. Go in, talk to the people that you need to, and have them tell you, how do I get to this level? If it's more money, great. How do I make more money? What do I need to do to make this amount of money? You want to make $100,000 a year? Great. Go talk to them. I'm making $50,000 a year right now. How do I get to $100,000? And is it possible here? And they may say, no, not right now. It's not possible. If they're being truthful. At this moment, we won't. But in 5 years, probably. Do you want to stick out the 5-year plan? And if they have one, I would say stick it out, because you're probably going to be the right-hand man to the owner, or you're going to be very, very high up, and soon you're not going to be running a route and making a ton of money. But it's being that truthful. It's sitting down and saying, what can I do, to get to that level? What do you need as a business owner? You're sitting down with the owner. It's just you and him, or it's you, there's a couple of guys, and then the owner. Sit down with them. Say, hey, look, this is what I want to be. How can I help you get to that level? Is it even possible here? And really strive and push for that. Now, a few things that some people don't understand, and this is where honesty, I know I was about to end, but now I got some more things I got to talk about. Where honesty actually gets, can come up is some people want more money because they don't know how to spend less. And so if you're that guy who's going in saying, hey, I want to get to that next level, how do I do it? And it's just because of a paycheck, or it's because you're not making what you want to make, or you're spending, or you're overspending, you need to learn how to control your finances, before you can actually go in and do that, because you're doing it for the wrong reasons. And even for me, where I sit, I don't have to be the highest paid in my company. I don't care. It's like, at the end of the day, if a salesman starts taking off and he's making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year, I don't care. It doesn't really affect me in any way. I don't have to have the nicest car and the nicest house. That doesn't matter to me. Because something that a lot of people don't understand, and this is actually, if you're going to start your own business, a lot of guys think this, is they say, oh, I'm going to get into business because I'm going to be rich. No, you're not. You're actually going to be broke. You're going to be broke for a very, very long time. Especially, and longer, if you're not willing to put in the time. The more that you're willing to put in, the faster you can get out of that broke stage. But one thing that everyone confuses and doesn't understand, this comes back truthfulness, right? Is you can make all the money, but it's the time that you really want. Time is really where you succeed. See, if I'm making $50,000 a year and you're making $200,000 a year, but I don't have to go into work ever, I'm more well off than you are, because you have to go in to make your $200,000 a year. I get to sit back and I don't have to do anything for 50. That's where I'd prefer. So I don't care if the guy's making $400,000, go make the $400,000, because he has to go in every day. If I'm making nothing, cool. I can make almost nothing, and in my financial situation, I can make nothing, but I don't have to go in. Now I'm choosing to, because I want to push this thing. I want to grow this thing as much as possible, but sit down with your owners, sit down with the managers, be that guy, and then if you're like, hey, Daniel, I'm an owner. None of this applies to me. Yes, it does. You have to sit down as an owner and you have to ask yourself, what do you want? Because in the beginning, my goals were, I'm going to get rich. I want to make millions. But that's actually not what my goal is today. And even a guy that was here before, he would always be like, we're going to be partners. We're going to be rich, blah, blah, blah. We're going to make so much money. His goals were not in line with mine. And, his goal was he thought money was going to solve his problems. And mine is time is going to solve my problems, not money. Because money, you have to have money, right? You're going to make money no matter what. But when you actually break everything down, it's time. That's what's missing in most people's lives. It's not the money. The money's always there. If you're willing to work, you're willing to do hard labor, money's there. 10 times out of 10, the money's there, especially in this market. People are looking for people to hire and they're willing to pay, but the problem is how much are you going to have to work to get that money? And then you start to lack the time. But as an owner and you go in and you sit down and you're talking to yourself and you're mapping out your plan, be honest with yourself, be truthful to yourself about what you want and where you need to go and how you need to get there. So every year I have a big meeting with the top people in my company and we sit down and we brainstorm and we create and change everything we need to. And there's a few things that we look at because it's where are we? Where do we need to be? Or where are we going and where do we want to go, right? And then through those stages, you ask yourself, okay, we're going here. So now who do we need to get there? And even from there, we want to be here. So where we want to go, who do we need to get there? Is it the same people that we have? You have to take inventory on that and you have to look at that. And that all comes back down to being truthful. The guys are like, oh, crap. The owners actually do that? Yes, we do. Yeah, we do. And that's why you have to be that guy who steps up. As an owner, if you're not doing that, you're doing something very wrong and you're probably not seeing the growth that you should because you're not doing that, because you're not making those strategic plans. Now, I will say I wasn't the best at that when I first took over the business because I wasn't. And I didn't do that because it was literally only me and another guy. But as we started to grow and as we started to piece people together, traction just kept gaining. And we kept doubling the business year after year after year after year, to where we are today. And we're quadruple the size that we were, But now we have those meetings and we put that in place and say, okay, who's here? Who do we think may leave? And who do we need to bring in to be able to get to that level? And as an owner, that's what you have to do. So if all the other stuff didn't pertain to you, this is what you need to do. And this is what you need to take to be able to say, okay, look, this is what it is. And to end on a really good note, I wanted to talk about one thing from Pest World. And I said I wouldn't, but I'm going to talk about it, is consistency is boring, but it wins. Okay. And I'll have a whole episode on what this guy talked about. And that was literally the main thing that smacked me in the face during his talk at Pest World is you have to have consistency. And on every level, from the ground up, from the most basic employee all the way to the owner, what are you doing on a consistent level? And remember, consistency is boring, but consistency pays the bills. Consistency will grow a business, and if you're consistent in the wrong things, it could actually destroy a business. So being consistent in the right things. But guys, have a fun, awesome week. I'm loving the weather. It's getting cool. It's getting nice. Remember, please please share the podcast to every other tech you know, to the owners you know. Some of the things that are getting thrown out here and that are going to could hopefully spark an idea in their head, and you could have helped that, to make the business better and a better place for you to work at. So please spread the word, get out there, go kill some bugs, be the best pest control technician you can be. Remember, follow me on Instagram at DNA Pest Podcast. You can email me at dnapestpodcast@gmail.com, or you can go to the website at DNA Pest Podcast, and you can there's a lot of stuff on there. You can click to be a guest. That will send me an email with your information. And I'd love to have you guys on. I love to hear you guys' stories. It was a ton of fun bringing all those guests on last year. I learned so much from everybody in different states and what you guys do, especially scrolling through Instagram and seeing everything. It's super fun to see all that and just the different ways everybody does certain things. So follow me. Shoot me a message. Shoot me an email. I don't care. It's a ton of fun to answer you guys. I should be back, more consistent on these things, especially with everything getting better. And calming down. And actually, it's not calming down. We're just getting busier, but we're bringing on better people to fill that. So I should have more time here. So remember, spread the word, get us out there. Let's grow this thing. Let's get the knowledge out there into the right hands. And really, the guys who are going to listen are probably the best guys out there. The ones that don't, they probably shouldn't be techs. All right. So have a good week. Have fun out there and kill some bugs. See you guys.